Hey everyone, this is Sarah at Health by Sarah, and happy Thanksgiving everyone, by the way. Today I'm going to share with you some of my family traditions for Thanksgiving and also share with you some healthy swaps you can make out and still really enjoy all those yummy Thanksgiving dishes, but just make a simple swap and you won't really taste the difference. So number one is to change your cooking fats. That is probably the most important thing anyone can ever do to make a change in their diet, is to change to healthier cooking fats, because most Americans are cooking with really inflammatory oils like canola, soybean, cottonseed, and corn, and also avoiding sunflower and safflower too, just because they're a little more natural, but they are very high in omega-6 fatty acids, and we already get a ton of those in our diet. So we really want to focus on more omega-3 fatty acids. And we can do that by eating healthy fats like grass-fed ghee, grass-fed butter, pasture-raised tallow and lard, coconut oil, and sustainably raised palm oil. Avocado oil is also another healthy fat, but focusing on those saturated fats especially are the healthiest ones you can eat. And I have a whole other video explaining why vegetable oils, like the ones I mentioned before, are very inflammatory and why you should avoid them. So just making those simple swaps over to things like grass-fed butter are so much better for you, and they taste so much better too. So you can easily find a lot of those in mainstream stores now. You can even buy tallow, grass-fed tallow at Walmart, and grass-fed butter like Kerrygold there. Sometimes Organic Valley is sold there too. So you can even find these things in Walmart now. So that's how prevalent it is. And it wasn't that way when I first started changing my diet several years ago. So it's really nice that there's a lot more options now. Second, I would say to change out your salt to a healthier salt, from your table salt to a healthy Himalayan salt or a sea salt. Redmond real salt is another great one too. And if you just simply swap out your salt for a healthier one, that's all you have to do. You will not notice a taste difference at all. Third would be to change your sweeteners to a more natural sweetener, and that would include sucanat, rapadura, a whole cane sugar, and preferably get that organic. Or if you're going to do sugar, do organic sugar, just because if you do non-organic, you're going to run into most likely getting genetically modified. So that's something you definitely want to avoid too. And a natural raw honey that's local to you is really great, or maple syrup. Again, a whole cane sugar if you're going to use sugar as well. And those are pretty easy swaps to make. I know personally for pecan pie, they normally use high fructose corn syrup, and that is not healthy at all, or corn syrup in general. So making it to rapadura or maple syrup is so much better. And sometimes it's a mixture of the two for the recipe. I'm not a baker, so I can't really give you advice on exactly how to adjust the sweetener, but there's plenty of good recipes out there that will teach you. Or if you're a baker, maybe you know what to do as a substitute. So I've had pecan pie that is made with natural sweeteners, and it tastes delicious still. And that's definitely my favorite pie to have for Thanksgiving. Next, I would say to change out your bread or your flour or breadcrumbs. And you could make your own bread or your own breadcrumbs or your own flour. I've done all those things before. I'm personally not a master at making sourdough bread, and sourdough bread is the healthiest bread you can possibly eat because it's been long fermented. But now there are sourdough breads out there. They're not as available as you would think, because a lot of sourdough breads in the store, you will find it's not a true sourdough bread because they're using yeast. And if yeast is used, as one of the ingredients, then you really know that they haven't truly fermented it and it's not truly sourdough. The only ingredients in a true sourdough bread would be flour, the starter, water, and salt, and that's all you need. And if you know how to make sourdough bread, that's great. Um, there might be one commercial available. I think it's the Alvarado Street, and it's in the frozen section, usually a health food store like Whole Foods or Earth Fare. And I think it's actually organic sprouted sourdough, so that might be an option. Or you might have a baker around you that makes sourdough, so look out for that. And with that healthier bread, you can make your own breadcrumbs. And I've done this by toasting the bread, waiting for it to cool down, and then processing it in your food processor. Another way I've done that is just to rip apart the bread, and if it's just a small amount, like I've done that with meatballs or meatloaf, I just rip apart a piece of bread into small pieces and it's worked fine. Making your own flour, you would just take the whole grain wheat berries itself or whatever whole grain it is, and you would process it in your grinder, or I have a Vitamix, and so I just do it in the dry blender that allows me to make things into flour, and it takes seconds to do, so it's very easy. Also, they sell healthier flours at the store. I don't know if every single grocery store would, but definitely health food stores would have organic sprouted flours, which would make the flour more digestible. Also, health food stores carry organic einkorn wheat flour, but it's a white flour, and it's just healthier than your regular white flour. But make sure you try to get an organic flour if you can, and an unbleached flour, because that's going to be the healthiest. And wheat itself, and along with a lot of other grains, are highly sprayed with glyphosate in the harvesting process, and that's not something that you can wash off. So try to get organic if you can afford it, and definitely unbleached as well. And I think all organic. I don't think it can be bleached when it's organic, so that'll take care of both of those things. And next, I would say to get organic or pasture-raised turkey. Most people are having turkey. It's a very traditional thing for American Thanksgiving. And the turkeys out there and chicken are not very healthy when they're conventionally raised in whether it's cages or raised in these big houses, even outside of cages. Cage free doesn't really mean a whole lot other than outside of a cage. It doesn't mean they're eating bugs in their natural environment or grass outside. Of course, chicken and birds in general are omnivores, so they're going to seek out bugs, and that would be their natural diet. So when you see things like vegetarian fed, that just means that they were fed a bunch of grain. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're healthier, and they probably aren't because they're not eating their natural diet. So if you can afford it, I would say to try to get a pasture-raised turkey from your farmer. Now, I've been out shopping lately, and even at Trader Joe's, I saw that they were selling organic young turkeys. So they did have at least organic turkeys available at Trader Joe's. Now, I don't think every store has that available, but I'm seeing that it's more available nowadays. I also saw it at Sprouts too. And definitely a health food store like Earth Fare or Whole Foods, or even your local one, would probably carry an organic turkey, maybe even a pasture-raised one. You just gotta check. And I would have put the turkey up higher, but I know it's a very expensive thing to buy, especially pasture-raised or organic, if you're buying like a 20-pound turkey or even a 15-pound one. It can kind of add up with the price. So I would have put that like right below healthy fats to make that choice, but I know that some of these other choices are easier for people. And then I would also say to try to buy things organic if possible. as much as you can afford to do, just because you're going to avoid those pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides that are sprayed on a lot of crops. And USDA organic makes the choice a lot healthier than conventional. But just do what you can afford, and above all, just try to avoid processed ingredients, because that's really gonna make the biggest impact along with the other changes I said. And if you're buying whole ingredients, you're gonna avoid processed ingredients anyway. Then also with the turkey, make sure you get your money's worth out of that. You gotta get the organs out of there that are usually included, and make those into, I saw a recipe for offal stuffing, OFFAL, or organ meat stuffing, and it sounded pretty good. It was with rice, and I think it was with some fat and some broth, and you stuff it into the turkey. But then I actually heard that's a big no-no with chefs. You don't actually want to stuff your stuffing into the turkey, because it'll make the turkey very overcooked because of the juices in the turkey, like cooking while you have your stuffing down there. In order to make it safe for you to eat, it has to be an internal temperature of 160 degrees. And because it's the very center of the bird, it would make everything overcooked. So I guess if you're going to make stuffing, make it outside of the turkey. But that's pretty easy to do. With most recipes call for you making it in a pan or something else. And then also make bone broth with the bones of the turkey, and you'll really get your money's worth with that. And making your own bone broth is so much healthier, because you're not going to have MSG or any other processed ingredients in it. You can completely control the ingredients. Now, lastly, I wanted to share what my family traditions have been growing up. First of all, we all say grace together, and it's usually more than just the Bless us, O Lord prayer. It's usually some other prayer or thoughts that the person praying has. And then also we each go around the table after that, or while we're eating, and say what we're thankful for. And that may be a tradition with a lot of people, but I've really enjoyed that tradition growing up with my family, because even if you were in a bad mood for that day or prior to that day, it really kind of uplifts you to think about what you're grateful for. It makes you stop and think that you really actually have a lot to be thankful for, even if things aren't going so great for you. So I just think that even if you are not Catholic or Christian, that is a good thing to do, to have gratitude. And that's one of the things I love about Thanksgiving in our country, is it makes you think what you're thankful for. I hope you guys have found this video to be helpful, and I would love to hear about what your traditions are for Thanksgiving and what you do as a family for Thanksgiving. So let me know in the comments, and please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you know when I post. And until next time, bye and happy Thanksgiving.